welcome everyone. Let me just remove my audio. Second. There we go. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. We still have a lot of people coming in. We're so excited. We'll keep you muted as we go through that here, but I am so excited. I see people from Dallas, from Honolulu, from Alabama. Where else? California, Tennessee, Kansas, Boone, LA, Michigan, Hollywood, Florida, Kentucky, Portland, Hungary, love it, Oregon, Virginia, Louisiana, Canada, Baltimore. You can email us if you want the replay. Knoxville, SoCal, Kansas, New York, Houston, Manitoba, Canada, West Palm Beach, India, Louisiana, Orlando, Mexico. Ooh, I am Mexican, by the way, if none of you knew that. Toronto, Canada. And today, I actually come to you from Southampton in UK. Yesterday, I went and I was exploring some venues for retreats. Isn't that great? The life that we can live and the life that we can create for all of us. All right. So let us get started, right? So if you can have your cameras on, that would be wonderful. But because then I can connect with you and I can see your beautiful, beautiful faces. Okay. And Carmel is here helping me manage the room. So if you can make sure we have people muted, that would be great. So we can go deep into this about launching your first retreat. Okay. So while people are coming into the room, I want you to put this in the chat. I want you to put the retreat that you have been picturing, right? And how long have you been picturing? We don't want right now, not yet, the details, just the retreat and the number of years. Okay. It's okay. All right. Ilona, 2. Okay. Jessica, you've been picturing for 2 years. Shona, 3 years. Mayong retreat, 1 year. Mia, I love Mayong. I think it's such a great place. Okay, to like such a great topic to run retreats about. This is what in the hobbies kind of category of retreats. Okay, Kathy, 2 years. Kay Miller, a couple of years. Heather, 3 years. Jennifer, textile arts retreat, 3 years. Roro, 15 years. Tracy, 5 years. Annie, 6 years. A needlepoint club retreat for 1 year. Erin, less than 6 months. Okay, women wellness, 1 year. Writers and creatives retreat, 5+ years. Samantha, 5 years. Reset glamping, 1 year. The wildly known life retreat, 1 year. 1 year. Okay, Angela, women and biblical hospitality, a few years. Okay, great. Cindy, 2 years. Well, that we want to change that today. Yeah. Okay. Heather, you already host summit, so that is already a handful. I get it. Women's Spa Retreat, 1 year from Anita. Women's Adventure Retreat since 2022 from G. Denise William, Leadership Retreat, 2 years. Month Retreat, 8+ years. Yeah. Jenny, 3 years. Catherine, Arts and Wellness Retreat, 3 years. Lori Brown, Creative, 1 year. Okay. Landing in Credit Retreat, Hawaii, 3 years. Love that topic, Anita. Great topic. Okay. Dr. Kevin, Sleep Reset, 2 years. Licia Williams, 3 years. Can we see? Right. Angelica, 10 years. I'm going to tell you about Tiffany. She waited for 10 years, and I'll tell you what happened after she decided to stop waiting. Wow. Okay. Can we see that we're not alone? So many times when we are an entrepreneur, it feels like such a lonely journey. Type a 1 in the chat if sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, am I the only one doing this? And why is this so hard? Tracy, yes. Lisa, Anita. And yes. right. Take one deep breath with me, just in and out, right? A deep, deep, deep one. Then we just exhale. Okay. Just be here, focus on our presence in this moment, right? I'm going to give you a lot during the next 90 minutes. And the best way to get that information through is by being as fully present as you can. Yeah. So look at those numbers in the chat. We had 4 years, 6 years, 10 years. And I want you to notice something. Not one of you typed, I don't know how to hold space, or I don't know how to run a retreat, or I don't know how to facilitate what I'm expert on. You already know how to do that work. That was never the question. So if the skill is not missing, what is, right? And that is what the next 90 minutes are for. So here's what this is and what this isn't, right? This is not another inspirational talk. Might you get a little inspired? Yes, but it's not about getting you inspired, right? If you've had enough inspiration in your life, and if inspiration has not been enough for you to actually host your retreat, right? Then that would already exist. So these 90 minutes are really on the business underneath that retreat. So you're going to leave here knowing how to price so it profits, how to speak about it so the right people lean in, and what your actual first move is. And at about the 45-minute mark, I am going to tell you exactly how you can work with me on it. And I'm telling you that now so you're not waiting for a surprise. So you can relax and really learn and take all this information into you. Right? So if you were in the waiting room, you probably saw a video of an event that I hosted. And this event, it was an Alice in Wonderland immersive dinner in Qatar, right? So I spent years at Marriott and at the Ritz-Carlton. I actually worked for Marriott's corporate office for Middle East and Africa. And I was part of the team that launched Marriott's Bonvoy global loyalty program. I rebranded over 8 restaurants and a spa that grew their revenue within 36% in a single year. Now, on paper, it was everything I thought I wanted. Everything. I had the 5-star lifestyle, I had the travel, but I was going on a ladder that was not really my own. I was making tons of money, millions of dollars for other people. Then one day I went to a women's retreat. We were 13 women. We were in a circle, right? There was laughter, there was tears, there was truth. And it cracked me open, right? I've been doing a lot of personal work, right? Development, but this retreat really was that turning point. And at the end of the retreat, I asked the facilitator, when was the next one? Because I wanted to bring my friends, I wanted to bring my mom. And then she told me, we're not doing it again because we barely made any money. We're not doing it again because we barely made any money. That sentence is why we're here today. That sentence built my whole company. Because of a woman with a life-changing gift who was about to stop giving it. And it was not for lack of passion, but for lack of a business model. And I'd spent 20 years building exactly that for hotels that didn't need the help. Passion and profit were never meant to compete. Profit is simply what lets you keep doing the work. So give me a heart in the chat if you're ready to have that passion in your business and then the profit together so they can work together, so they can help each other. Yes, Mia. Yes, Janelle. Yes, Lori. Raina, Jennifer, Dr. Kelly, Angelica, Candy, Queen, Love, yes. Rhythmic, Eric, Haven, Lauren, Wanda, Stacy. Can you see this? You're not alone. You're not alone. I keep seeing more hearts. I love it. Yes, Annie, profit is simply what makes you keep doing the work. So here's the line this whole class is about. There are retreat dreamers and there are retreat leaders. The difference between them is not talent. It is not experience and it's not readiness. Most of you are more ready than you think. The difference is that a leader has a date, a price, and a plan. That's it, the whole gap. And that's what we want to be crossing today. So if you're ready to become a retreat leader, type retreat leader in the chat. Yeah, yes, leader. Yes. Oh my gosh. Later on, after we're done with this class, I'll have to go and see how many of you said retreat leaders compared to the 172 people in the room. Yes. Retreat leader. Love it. Okay. So I built a program specifically for that crossing, and I'll show you that later on today. Yeah. But let me show you what you're actually deciding about first. So most retreat leaders don't fail from a lack of passion. They fail because the leader priced from hope instead of math. And they speak to peers instead of buyers. Which means that the thing that you've been trying to get better at, the facilitation, the content, the container, was never the thing that would have made the difference. How many of you have done multiple levels of certifications and trainings to become great at your craft? Right. Yes. I have. I am sitting here in front of you today, and I can tell you that I have spent over $500,000 training to be here in front of you so I can give you the best of the best of the best of the best. $500,000. But so many times we hide behind the certifications. We think that one more certification is the thing that's going to make a difference, when actually what we need is the business model that supports that, that expertise, all the trainings that you've already taken. Yeah. A retreat is not just an event. It's a transformational engine. People come and they change their lives. They're so powerful. And you're here because you truly, inside of you, you believe that you can change people's lives. Now, the biggest problem between events and retreats nowadays is that most people who run events know how to run events and they know how to make them profitable. But most people who are running retreats, they are passionate about it, but they don't know how to run it like a business. And we want to change that. So once you see it that way, everything will change, right? The price, the positioning, the way you invite people in. And you stop being the person with a beautiful idea and you start being a person with a business. So if this just landed a little bit different than everything else you've heard out there, I want you to type business in the chat. Business. Yeah. Love it. All right. All right. I can see all of you. I love this. Okay. All right. So I do a lot of research to figure out what's going on in the market, right? I don't just like throw spaghetti on the wall and be like, oh, maybe this will work, right? Before I started this business, right after that retreat, I knew I had to run research to really understand what was happening behind the scenes. So I ran over 100 interviews just to see if this is the place where I could actually help people, right? Where I could help you build that business model that makes you 100K, 200K, 300K a year, 500K, $1 million if that's what you want. Yeah. And I met this woman and she had hosted 13 retreats. 13, right? And her photos were stunning. And every single one of his retreats, she posted that she had sold out. And I asked her about her profit. And she said about $500 each. $500 each. Per se, she was not doing anything wrong, right? She was doing everything right on top of a structure that made profit mathematically impossible. And she had no idea. That's the part that really stayed with me, right? She thought she had a business. A sold out retreat is not a success if your bank account is empty. A sold out retreat is not a success if your bank account is empty. So many people focus on sold out. I want to have a sold out retreat. I want to have a sold out retreat. And I tell you, no, it's not about sold out. It's about profitable. Now, let me tell you the other side of the story, right? Of what it's possible. So you can see the whole range. So type a 1 in the chat if you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is. Yes, yes. Okay, perfect. We have a good understanding of who Dr. Joe Dispenza. Okay, so he is a meditation teacher and he works from the space of connecting your heart with your mind, right? So he's basically the one that creates that bridge. So he teaches with a lot of science how to meditate. Now, I'll tell you that there was a point, right? I started to going to all of these retreats. I went to retreats every weekend for 6 months. And crazy, magical things started to happening to me. And my brain could not really cope with the magic that was going on, okay? Like, it couldn't. It was like, Lainey, maybe you need to go check yourself into a loony bean. So I thought to myself, I really want to work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And at first I thought, well, maybe I just go to one of his retreats. But what happened actually was even more magical because I was able to hire him as a teacher and host a retreat with him. So a few years ago, right, my team and I, we hosted a retreat in Mexico with Dr. Joe Dispenza. We had 72 people flying in from around the world. And the speaker fee alone was massive. Generally, most people would look at that number and say, there is no way this is profitable. Just don't do it. But we priced every seat with math. Like, I'm going to teach you today, right? And we built a marketing campaign that filled the room in 3 weeks. And it was an invitation-only event. Invitation only. That single retreat cleared $100,000 in profit after paying Dr. Joe. And it led to more than $3 million in back-end sales afterwards. And I'm not telling you this so you go book Dr. Joe. I'm telling you because of what separated that retreat from the 13 sold out retreats that made $500. It was not the celebrity. It was not the location. It was that one of them was built on a model and the other one was built on hope and passion. You're not selling a trip. You're building a transformation engine. So type a 1 in the chat if you want to have this type of retreats in your business. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes. Yes. Okay. Now, math is more flexible than you think. So here is what I want you to take most from this section. There is no single road to a profitable retreat business. There's so many. Yeah. But today, we are going to be talking about 4 business models. Yeah. And these 4 that I'm talking about, none of them look like each other. So model A, 2 premium retreats a year, 10 guests at $5,000 each. That is $100,000 already. 2 retreats a year, 10 guests at $5,000, $100,000 there, right? Simple. The Model B, 4 smaller retreats, 12 guests at $2,500. That is $120,000. 4 smaller retreats, 12 guests each at $2,500. Now, the Model C is monthly mini retreats with a quarterly flagship. That can be 100, 150,000 and up. And a Model D is a retreat that leads into a program with recurring revenue stacked on top of that retreat. Now, look at all of them. Yeah, they have the same income or a very similar income, completely different lifestyles that you need to live in order to have those, right? One of them has you on a plane 4 times a year, and one of them has you home every weekend except one. You do not need hundreds of people. You need the model that fits your strengths, your audience, and the life that you actually want to be living while you do this. Right now, we're talking about revenue, Lisa. So I'm going to put the models in the chat for you. I want you to tell me which model is calling you, A, B, C, or D. Okay, so we have B, we have C, B, and D already doing C. Model C, Model B, C, A, B, D, C, and D, B. Okay, perfect. A and B, D. Can't decide. That's okay. Maybe you'll decide as we go through this class. Okay. I'll put it in the chat for you, the models again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. B, not sure if your audience is there. Yeah. We want to make sure that the model matches your lifestyle that you want to live, your audience, and the price point, right? And the offer itself, right? So, yes. Okay. Now, notice nobody in the chat picked the model because it was the correct answer. You picked one based on the life that you want. That is the right instinct. And that's how we do it properly. Yeah. So I remember someone said that they've been waiting for 10 years to host a retreat. Yeah. So Tiffany, she told herself one day for 10 years. 10 years of an idea floating around. And it was not because she was not good enough and she did not have the trainings. She was extraordinary. But it was because nobody had ever sat down with her and built the model for her, right? And when we finally did it, her first Silent Serenity retreat sold out. Every single attendee came back for the next one. It now funds her family's life. 10 years of waiting and then one decision. So the cost of waiting is always higher than the cost of deciding. Look back at the chat. Look at the years you typed. So, everybody in the chat, I want you to give me 3 numbers, yeah? And do not overthink them. The first number that comes to mind, just type it in the chat, and we're going to do it because we're going to be doing some exercises as we go through it, right? So number 1 is, if retreat works out the way you want them to, how much money would you want them to bring into your business in a year? And you will not scare me. I've seen 15,000 and I've seen millions. So if retreats worked out, how much revenue would you like to make in a year? 350,000, 100,000, 250, 2 million, 250,000, 100,000, 500K, 2,000. Okay, 300. Oh my gosh, this is so fast. I love it. 300K, 150. Okay, keep your number. 1 million, 250K, 500K. Keep your numbers, right? Because we're going to be doing some math for you in a second. Yes. Okay, perfect. Now, 2. This has to be like the first number that pops into your head, okay? Don't overthink it. How many retreats per year? A number that feels good. I don't want a number that is trying to impress people. A number that feels good. How many retreats per year? 4, 6, 8, 4, 2, 4, 4, 6, 24. 2, 2, 2, 3, 6, 4. Okay, great. I mean, someone once told me I want to do one retreat per every single week of the year. And I told her, you don't want holidays? And then she said, okay, maybe 48. I want 4 weeks a month, a year, right? That for me, it's a no-no. I think about 48 weekends or 48 weeks hosting retreats. It feels oppressing, right? It doesn't feel like it's something I want to do. But if it's perfect for her, it's perfect for her. So you need to find the number that works for you, right? The number that works for you, not the number that you think is what everyone else is doing out there. Yeah. Not the number that you think you should do because everyone is out there, or because someone came and told you, well, if you do 4 retreats a year, you can make $100,000. No, it needs to be a number that feels good for you. If it's 1, it's 1. If it's 2, it's 2. If it's 10, it's 10. Yeah, Heather, you can manage one right now with your offer, with the set of offers you have. Now, you want to think also long term, right? In 5 years, where do you want to be? Now, 3, the third number that I want you to give me, right? I want you to close your eyes for a second. Yeah, just unless you're driving, please close your eyes. Yeah. And I want you to imagine that there is a door. Choose the color of the door that, your favorite color, your favorite door, it doesn't matter, right? And behind it is everyone who's coming to this first retreat you're doing already waiting for you. How many faces do you see? Type that number. 12, 12, 12, 40, 50, 15, 24, 20, 20, 125. 125 in one single retreat, 12, 15, 10, maybe 20, 25, 10, 15 each, 30, 24. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. Now, I'm going to run some numbers. So whoever wants their numbers I'll run like 2 or 3, but whoever wants to run the numbers, you just need to put in the chat the 3 numbers that you just gave me, right? So how much revenue you want to make, how many retreats per year, and how many people. Okay, Nikki, we have you first. So let me just pull my calculator. I mean, I can sometimes do that. Okay, perfect. And everyone who did not put your numbers in the chat, I want you to do the numbers with you. It's very simple. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do for this math. Yeah. So I'm going to take you through it so you can do it. So calculator, right? So first we have $100,000, right, Nikki? And then we're going to divide that by the number of retreats that you want for $25,000, right? Easy peasy. Now we're going to divide, this is the amount of money you need to bring in on revenue per retreat to reach your goal. Yeah. And then we're going to divide it by the number of people. That means your ticket is 1,666.6. Nikki, how does that number feel? Does it feel low, achievable, high? How does it feel? Yeah. And I want you to type it in the chat. Okay, let's see. It feels, okay, it feels high. All right. That's okay. Rome was not built in one day, right? And we need to, of course, look at more details and whatnot. But I'll tell you that the average retreat cost nowadays is between $2,000 and $3,000. So you're below the average price point of retreats. And we'll talk a little bit more about perceived value as we go through this. So I'm going to do, let me see. Ta-da-da. Okay, let's do Anita. Anita, you said $2 million, right? I also like to graph big numbers. And then we're going to split that between 4. So that means every retreat needs to be $500,000 a year. I mean, in this case, we also have continuation offers, and there's a lot of more things that we put into consideration. And then we're going to split it between 100 people. That means your ticket per person is $5,000. I am going to a conference. It's a summit in Thailand in November. The ticket is $6,000, and they have around 500 people coming to the event. So if they can, so can you. Yeah. So how does that feel for you, Anita? Like in that number? Because if it's depending on that, we can always adjust and assess. Now, I'm going to do Dr. Kelly because Dr. Kelly, you said in the bottom that it felt high. So I want to run your numbers, right? To see how you feel with your numbers. So 250,000 divided by 6, right? We have 41,666. And then we divide that by 12 people. 3,472. How does that feel, Dr. Kelly? Tell me in the chat. Now, you all know how to do the formula. So if I didn't get to do your numbers, that's it. Okay. All right. Mia, I'm gonna read some of the like feelings that we got, right? It feels okay, but wondering about expenses. Yes, this is revenue, right? This is not minus like profit. We'll talk about profit a little bit in a minute. Yeah. So right now we don't care if it's a full day or 2 days or 10 days or 20 days, right? This is just how much money you want to make and how many retreats with how many people. Renzo, feels too high for the regular clients. Well, it depends on the problem that you're solving, doesn't it? We'll talk about perceived value as well as we go through this masterclass. So, I mean, you want to hang on here. Yes. Okay. Can I repeat the calculation, Sheila? Yes, you divide the revenue by the number of retreats, and then that number you divide it by the number of attendees. Yeah. So, not sure if your current audience can pay for it. Yeah. I mean, there is money out there, right? There's people who can pay and pay different prices of retreats. There are retreats in New Zealand. They're $80,000 for a week. Okay. There's retreats in Switzerland in La Prairie. They have a medical clinic and they have a like a wellness and beauty retreat. It's $50,000. They have a 2-year wait list. So anything is possible. Yeah. Yes. Hill, this is a price, not a profit, if I didn't answer that earlier. Yes. Average price for retreats, again, between $2,000 and $3,000. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Melly, it can feel high, but what are they getting for the amount? So I'm gonna talking. Okay, Mary, every time you make an offer, nobody buys. We were gonna talk about that because you're probably talking to peers and not clients. So we want to figure that out. Yeah. The cost, it depends on each person running the retreat. There's completely different cost, pricing costs for running a retreat, from 20% to 60% to 70% of the costs. I'd never recommend to have a 70% cost, 30% profit margin, just so you know. Okay, so now you have your ticket price, right? And I want you to, like, once you're doing your numbers, your personal number, I want you to ask yourself, how does that number feel in my body? Now, for some of you, this might feel high. And I want to name what just happened, right? You did not flinch at the revenue goal. When I asked you how much money do you want to make, none of you flinched. You gave me the number that you wanted, right? But you flinched at the price. Yeah. That is the gap right there. And that flinch can also be like, Dr. Kelly, you're feeling like honestly it's too low for what they'll receive. That gap can be also on the other way around. You're like, oh my gosh, like, why would I charge so little? Yeah. Okay. So the gap right here is between what you want to earn and what you believe you're allowed to charge. The gap in itself is an entire business problem. And it's not a math problem. So we're going to come back to it. And just know that Rome was not built in a day. Maybe in year one, you'll make half of it. But now that you know your number, you're walking towards, you have a path. And most people never get that far. So I want you to type your price ticket in the chat. Just a number. Let's see them. Okay, good. Yeah, great. Okay, good numbers. Yes. All right. Now, can you see what we just did in 5 minutes? In 5 minutes. This is just the surface. When I work with someone, we go all the way down, right? The cost per guest, the break even, the margins, pricing tiers, launch strategies, and we build it before we announce a thing. But now you have something most retreat leaders don't never get. You have a number. So let's keep going, right? So you have this number. Now, the question here is the one that's been keeping the retreat in your head. How do I start? How do I start? Yeah. So there are 4 ways on how we can do this, right? And 3 of them work for some people, right? And I'll be honest with all of you, all of those 4, including the ones that do not involve me, because you should make a decision with your eyes open. Yeah. So the 4 ways, right? Number 1 is you figure it out alone. You go into blogs, you go into podcasts, you go into other people's Instagram's captions. It is free, and you'll genuinely learn some things. It is an option if you have the runway, right? The cost here is time plus 1 expensive first mistake. Most people who go this way take 3 to 5 years and 1 unprofitable retreat to arrive at the model that works for them. Yeah, so that's number 1. Number 2 is you buy a template or a course. You buy something pre-recorded that is affordable, it's structured, and there are good ones out there, right? And if your retreat is fairly conventional, a template will get you most of the way, right? The cost here is the fit, right? A template cannot tell you what makes your work different, right? And when we get generic advice, it tends to cheapen our heart-led work. Yeah. And then number 3 is you hire it done for you, right? It's a full service planner that will handle it and it will be beautiful. And this is the right choice if you're time poor and cash rich. Yeah. It is around $15,000 and up, right? And the cost here is dependency. So you get 1 retreat, not the model. And then when you want a second one, you need to pay again, because the knowledge stays with the consultant. Yeah. And number 4 is you book the venue and hope. And this is what most first-time retreat leaders actually do. They pick a place they love, right? And they pick a price that feels nice, that are like, oh, people will pay this. And then they announce it and they hope. And the cost is the retreat itself. This is where the sold out and broke story comes from, right? And it's the only one of the 4 that I generally steer you away from. And be honest with me. Have you been doing any of these? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Yes, 4. Book and hope. 1, okay, buy a template online. Yeah. I can definitely get them in the chat. Or maybe 1, okay. Do not worry, we do have a solution for this. Okay, give me 1 second, ladies, because and gentlemen, because I am bringing it to you. Ilona, not yet. Perfect, because that means you can start from a different place. Okay. So let's design it properly, right? So I want you to forget what is available for a second. So if you could have the ideal way to launch your first retreat, it would need to meet these 3 conditions, right? Everything else is a detail. 1 is that it's built around your work, not a template. Yeah, built around your work, because your retreat is not interchangeable with anyone else's. And advisor treats it that way, Flannen's the exact thing that makes people want to come. You. Now, 2, the numbers profit, right? Before you sell a single sig, right? Your numbers, okay? You want to know your cost per guest and the break even before you announce anything. So the price is a decision, it's not guessing. It's not about finding out in October that you're $10,000 underwater. Yeah. So that's number 2. And number 3, yeah, is a person, right? A real person who looks at your actual retreat and tells you the truth. This is not about theories. It's not a recorded module that you have to go and watch at 11 at night. It's someone who has experience behind it that looks at your positioning, your price, and your plan and says, this part works, this part will cost you money or time or energy before it costs you. So I'm going to put them in the chat for you. But if those 3 things are what you want, I want you to type yes in the chat. Catherine, Jennifer, Netta, Natalie, Anita, Tracy, Erin, John, Kim. Yes, perfect. Okay. That is the standard. I want you to hold on to it. So in a couple of minutes, I am going to show you something and you're going to hold it up and guess those 3 conditions. And you'll know right away whether it's for you or not. So before we get into pricing, right, and cost and everything, that is such an exciting topic, I want to fix something that it kills most first retreat leaders, and it has nothing to do with money. Yes, I can put them in the chat if I find them. I put some here. Ta-da. Before I didn't used to have my notes next to me, but everyone is like, can you put them in the chat? And I'm like, yes. So now I have them ready. Okay, there we go. Okay, so one of the things that happens to most first-time retreat leaders has nothing to do with money. And so many times we think, well, I don't have the money, I don't have this, I don't have that, and it's just excuses. But the truth is that most retreat leaders accidentally, it's not on purpose, write to their peers instead of their guests. Write to their peers instead of their guests. And here's what I mean. You write a somatic journey into nervous system regulation. Has anyone heard anything like that? Type yes in the chat if you heard anything like that, right? Somatic journey into your nervous system regulation and embodied presence. Yes, yes, I see it, right? And every facilitator who reads that nods because they know exactly what you mean and they are impressed. And your actual buyer reads it and feels vaguely stupid and keeps scrolling. They're like, huh, is that me? I don't know. What is somatic? Somatic journey? Am I like traveling somewhere? Am I like somatic journey? Am I journaling? Hey. When we do this, what we're doing is we're writing for approval of the people who will never buy from you. Somatic. So, somatic. I know I'm Mexican. Sometimes I have funny accent. Sorry if that disturbs any of you, but it is what it is, right? Anyway, I'm going to type it to make sure that everyone knows yes what I'm talking about. Perfect. Okay, so you're writing for the approval of the people who will never buy from you, unless you're selling to your peers, yeah? And it feels like professional. It feels very professional. It feels like I have all this certifications and degrees. And it feels like you're going to be taken seriously. But it is one of the most expensive habits in this industry. So if you sell a destination, you're going to get compared to Expedia. Case in point. Yes, Natalie, exactly. Yeah. So if you sell a destination, you're going to be compared to Expedia. Sorry, Expedia has a massive marketing budget. You do not want to compete against Expedia. I don't know about you, but I don't want to compete against Expedia, right? But if you sell an outcome, a result, You can get compared to nobody. You become a category of one. So your guest is not searching for somatic nervous system regulation. Your guest is lying awake at 2 in the morning thinking, I don't recognize my own life anymore. Those are the words. I don't recognize my own life anymore. So in the chat, I want you to start thinking about, like, how do you currently describe your retreat? If you have a website for your retreat, copy from there. If you have one, right? And don't clean it up, don't try to make it nice. Just the name of your retreat or your retreat promise. Yeah. Reclaiming me. Okay. Is there a subheadline, something that tells you a little bit more about me? Because if I ask myself, reclaiming me, like, wouldn't reclaiming myself would have like all these other different connotations, right? So for example, okay, where you get to reconnect to yourself, like I could be reclaiming me from a husband or a boyfriend, or I mean, maybe I am reclaiming myself because my mom is still trying to control my life. Okay. So ask yourself, what is this sentence trying to impress? And what would your guest say in her own kitchen at 11 at night? Yeah. So this is one of the things that we do inside of the program, because what we want to do is we want to shift that messaging, that language, into something that your ideal client will recognize and self-identify. So even before they speak to you, they're like, oh, this is me. She sees me. She gets me. She can help me. Hence, I want to come to this retreat. Yeah. Do you feel the difference? Type I want in the chat. And that's what we do in session 4. We spend a whole session rebuilding your message in the language that people who are ready to buy actually use. But you now just got the core of it, yeah? Okay, so before we get into the pricing piece, I want to give you one piece nobody ever sits down and teaches you. Because it is a piece that makes all of those 3 conditions that we spoke in the past come through, yeah? And make them possible. So I want you to forget about retreats for a second, yeah? And I want you to think that you're going to be throwing your birthday kid party. And guess what? This is not a regular party where you're paying for everything. People are paying to come to the party. Yeah. Okay. And in this case, it's going to cost you $1,000 to host that party. And there's 20 kids coming. So your cost per person is $50 per person. So if you charge $50, you're going to break even. And you did all the work for free. So if you charge 100, now you're in profit. And some parents will come and tell you, okay, this was incredible. I would have paid $150 for my kid to sit next to the birthday boy. That is the VIP version, right? That's your tiers. That is your upsell. Profit is very simple math. It only feels like a mystery because nobody makes it out about your kid's birthday party, right? No one brings it into the simple way of doing, yeah? So right now, what we are doing is I'm teaching you the profit floor formula, okay? So, and I'm going to give you an example of a retreat that we run, and I'm going to put the formula for you in the chat, yeah? So profit formula, right, is your profit formula, and I'll tell you what it is, right? But it's the total cost of running your retreat divided by the number of guests plus the desired profit per person. This is your minimum price. This is your lowest price. Nothing, you don't drop from there. Doesn't matter if they're your BFF. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to run a number for you from a retreat that we actually had. Yeah. So when this was a Dying to Fully Live retreat, we ran in Mexico, and the cost of running that retreat, $24,000. That was just the costs, okay? $24,000 between the house, beautiful Italian state with a vineyard in background, right? In the back, beautiful, beautiful place. Private chefs, 5 facilitators, $24,000 in cost. Now, we are going to divide that by the amount of people that we wanted to have, right? We wanted to have in that one 8 people, $3,000 per person in costs. Now here, what you are going to add is how much money would I like to make per person? Not overall, just per person. Each single person that comes, I want them to make me a certain amount of money. And in this case, we actually said that we wanted 3,500. So our ticket price was 6,500. This was our lowest price. This was the early bird. This was the friends and family. Okay. So this is the profit floor. Now, I'll tell you, I had someone who became my client afterwards because she flew from Australia to Mexico with 16 guests, right? It was picture perfect. And she had underpriced so badly that she couldn't cover her own travel. And halfway through the retreat, she mentally checked out. And her guests felt that, right? They had paid for her full presents and she couldn't give it anymore because she was running the math in her head about how she was going to get home. Profit is not greed. It is presence. When you underprice, you don't just hurt yourself. You quietly abandon your people. So I want you to type in the chat, no more undercharging if that's a boundary you're setting today. Yes, pouring from an empty cup. No more undercharging. Yes, okay. Okay. So that is a profit floor. And it is a foundation, right? So pricing goes even deeper. Your tiers, your upsells, your payment plans, your early bird. And when I work with people, I run it through a pricing calculator that I have built out of 20 years in hospitality. And that is actually session 5 of what I am about to show you. But first, one more thing, and it's the one that actually stops people. Oh, there's different ways. It's about perceived value and a bunch of things. Usually, if people don't want to pay that much, usually you might be talking to the wrong audience, or the value that you're putting out together is not high enough in their perspective to actually pay for it. Yeah. There's formulas to decide how much we want to profit per client. Neta. Okay, so I want to talk about something that is actually here because it's almost in every room I stand up and speak on. Yeah. Some of you might have flinched at your own ticket price, and not because there was anything wrong with the math, right? But because somewhere you have learned that charging well for healing work is a little bit greedy, and that the money contaminates the mission. And let me tell you where that belief ends up. It ends up in a circle of 13 women saying, we're not doing it again because we barely made any money. That is what the belief costs, not you, to them, to everyone who never gets the retreat. Selling out is not about charging well. Selling out is a life-changing retreat that never happens again. Abraham Hicks says, you have a moral responsibility to share your gifts with the world. A moral responsibility to share your gifts with the world. Every time you flinch, every time you don't run your retreat, you're taking away from someone who really needed you. So I'm going to tell you something very, very personal, yeah? So I used to sing It was bad, okay? But I had so much fun. And I did it at parties and in the shower and at karaoke, and I did not care. And then one day, my boyfriend at the time, right? Now you'll know why he's not my boyfriend anymore. He told me, Lainey, stop singing. You sound horrible. And I stopped for 13 years. Not even in the shower. I believed him. And I silenced myself. And the first time I sang again, it was inside of a temescal, a sweat lodge, right? This dark room. It was in complete darkness. And it was where nobody could see me. I was hiding. Yeah. And when it ended, people came to me and said, Lainey, you have a beautiful voice. I had no idea. And here's why this matters to you. Everyone in this room has been told by someone or by yourself that you're not the business one, that you're the heart, not the head. And you have believed it. And then you went quiet about the money. I am not here to tell you to be someone else. I am here to tell you that your voice was always there. And I'll tell you how these beliefs actually plays out, because it's never as noble as it feels. So a Kundalini teacher used my family's retreat center, and I actually have hired her to be a facilitator in many of my retreats. And 1 week out, she called me in a panic because she was losing money. So we looked, right? And what happened was this. There was a scholarship here because the woman really needed it, and a friend discount there, a payment plan she never chased. And every single one of those decisions were generous. And every single one of them felt right. And together they took her below her own profit floor. And then she asked me to ask my brother to discount the venue. I said no, with love, but no. Because the venue should not pay for her pricing. And that is the whole thing, isn't it? When you don't hold that boundary with yourself, somebody else always ends up holding it for you. Your family, your partner, your kids' school fees, the venue. Generosity that you can't afford is not generosity. It's a bill you're handing on to someone else. And the last thing standing between you and a retreat is usually just a sentence. I am not ready yet. So let me be very direct with you and with love, right? Stephanie said that for 10 years. The woman with the $500 retreats ran 13 retreats before she found out. Nobody in the history of business has ever felt ready. Readiness is not a feeling you arrive at. It's a decision you make. And that feeling shows up afterward, usually about a week later. You don't decide because you're ready. You become ready because you decided. So I want you to type in the chat, decide, if you're done waiting to feel like it. Decide. Oh, yeah. Okay, love it. So many people already saying yes, 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 yes. Okay, so now you know the number. And I know there were some questions. I am staying behind after the session to answer questions. Yeah. So if you have questions, just want to hang in. Yeah. Okay. So now you know the number, and you know the 4 ways, and you know the 3 things you actually want. And you just told me that you're done waiting. So I promised I show you how to work with me, and I'm going to keep my promise. And after that, we're going to go and learn about sales. Yeah. So it is called Launch Your First Retreat. It is 10 weeks. It is for coaches, facilitators, and leaders with transformational work who are launching their first retreat and want it full, profitable, and theirs. Like really Like it's you, like people can see you through it, yeah? And I have built it against this exact 3 conditions you just agreed to. So let me show you. So first of all, there is no template, right? We start from your gift, your people, your vision, and then we build the business around that. So we have 10 live sessions. It's all live. You get replays if you cannot come. And then every single one of them has a hot seat coaching, which means you can put your retreat on the table and get coached on directly with me. I run all the sessions. You don't get a coach from like one of my coaches. I am the one running this program myself. Yeah. So first, we're going to be doing about defining your retreat, right? What you're actually offering before you even spend any money. And then we're going to go into a third team positioning. So the right people are saying yes before they even meet you. And right, your ideal guest, because a little bit of everyone sells to no one. And then we're going to talk about the messaging. Remember that example we did earlier, right? That messaging. So you're not talking to peers and you're actually talking to the ideal client who's ready to buy. And then we're going to go through pricing that profits. All those questions that I saw in the chat, we're going to go deep into those, yes? Because we want to find out what is your real cost per guest, your real break even, the price that pays you, and how much people are willing to pay for your retreat. Now, also your offer, right? And we're going to review that live. You're going to bring your offer, and I'm going to tell you what works and what is the things that are going to cost you. Yeah. And then heartlet sales, because selling without the ickiness, the the pushiness, we don't want that. And you don't have to. Yeah. Okay. So heartlet sales. And then a marketing plan that fits you. Because the truth is that so many coaches out there teach you, you sell through Instagram and Facebook. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. If you do not like social media, you do not need to sell your retreats on social media. And I'm going to teach you how to do that and find the right marketing channel that works for you. Yeah. And then, of course, logistics and locations, the operational pieces that usually destroy your margins because we end up with surprise expenses. Yeah. And then we're going to review your launch plan, your marketing plan, and your sales plan. So when you leave, you can go ahead and just sell your retreat over and over and over and over again. Now, this we do in a boutique style. So there's only 12 spots. It's small enough that I will know your retreat by name. Now, nobody buys a curriculum, right? But they buy what they can picture. So I want to make this real because 10 session is very abstract, right? And I want you to be able to picture it. So let's say in week 1, you're going to come to a live session. You're going to bring the retreat that has been in your head, right? And in your heart, and whatever state it is, right? Half form is fine. And that's very normal, actually. And by the end of that session, you will have said out loud to me and to 11 other people what your retreat actually is and who it is for. Most of you have never done that. And it's harder and more emotional than it sounds. And it changes everything as we go through the process. And by week 5, you have a price, right? A real price that has your costs, your profits, and a number that feels good to you. A number that feels like, I can do this. And by week 6, right, you're going to sit in the hot seat and I'm going to go through your positioning, your guests, your numbers, and I'm going to tell you what's going to work and what needs to change. And by week 10, you're going to have a launch plan on the table that we have tightened and sequenced together. And you're going to leave able to run it again on your own for the 2nd retreat and the 5th retreat and the 10th retreat. That is the part that matters the most. You're not renting me. You're keeping your model. And in session 5 is the one that nobody really teaches you, right? Like the math, the cost per guest, your break even, your price. And on paper, it has to be profitable before a single person says yes. Now, we set the intention on day 1. Your first retreat should return at least 3 times what you invest here. 3 times. And that is not a promise from me. That is a design target that we're going to build towards together. So $10,000 in profit on a first retreat. And it's a normal outcome for someone who does the work. Yeah. And 2 of the 10 sessions are nothing but live feedback on your retreat. Your positioning, your guests, your numbers with everyone. And I will tell you what works and what needs to change. And you're going to learn as much from watching someone else's hot seat as from your own. Because mistakes are far more universal than anyone admits. Brent was going to lose $10,000 in a retreat in October. One weekend, we rebuilt the structure, and that retreat came in at $17,000 in profit. That is a $27,000 swing. And now he has retreats booked months ahead, sold out. And for Matthew, right, his first event, he had 30 people signed up for his workshop and only 5 people showed up. He was ready to quit. And he built the structure instead. And he sold out all his 3 summer retreats and had a 76 people wait list. And Tiffany waited for 10 years. Her first retreat sold out, 100% of attendees returned, and now it funds her family's life. I'll do it at the end, Mackenzie. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to know who you're going to be sitting with because it matters more than what people expect, right? It's around 12 people, right? Not 50, not 300. And it's a very specific number. And it's a reason why these hot seats work at all, right? With 50 people, it means you watch. With 12 people, it means you're in it. And the group is mixed as well, right? My clients run men's retreats, trauma retreats, silent retreats, plant medicine retreats, veteran retreats, corporate offsites. And the first time somebody says, well, my retreat is completely different, so this won't apply to me, they sit through somebody else's hot seat on a totally different kind of retreat and take 4 pages of notes. Again, mistakes are more universal than we think. So that is part of the design. So there's one thing more that happens in this room and nobody is probably going to type it in the chat. So I'm going to say it for you, right? So some of you are not worried about the money at all. You're worried that you'll spend $3,000 and find out that you're the one it doesn't work for. And that everyone else in the group will launch and you'll be the one who still doesn't have a retreat at the end. And then you have proof that it was you all along. And I know it happens in this room as well, because I've heard it on over 100 calls. And usually about 10 minutes in, usually it's right before somebody cries. So here's what I'll say. Every single person I told you about today, Brent, Matthew, Tiffany, Elisa, walked in exactly with that fear. Matthew already had 30 people signed up and 5 show up, right? He had actual evidence that he was the one it didn't work out for. He was more right to be afraid than any of you. And he sold out 3 retreats and built a 76-person waitlist. Yeah. And you're not afraid because you're not cut out for this. You're afraid because you've never been shown how to do it. And there is a difference, and it's the whole different. And I'm going to tell you for who it is not. Yeah, because I'd rather you know that than find out in week 3. It is not for you if you want a done for you template, a wish of good luck. I don't have one of those for you. Yeah. And it is not for you if you want already running a multi-retreat business at scale, right? That's a different problem. And that's you tell me in the chat and I'll put you to the right way. Yeah. And if it's not for you, if you believe selling has to feel pushy and you're not open to a kinder way, because then week 7 will be miserable for both of us. It's 10 weeks of live sessions, right? And if you cannot show up, the recordings are there, but the hot seats are very important, right? So if you can't come up live, this might not be the right season for you. Yeah. Okay. So we have looked at the math, right? And you have all seen what you can create from here. Yeah. So the question here is not really, can I afford this? Is, do I believe I can run one retreat? Because if you can run one retreat, the math already worked. And if you can't feel it, then you need this program even more than the person sitting next to you. So here's the investment, yeah? $3,000 paid in full or 6 monthly payments of $600. So cash flow is not the thing that makes the decision for you. And I want you to put that next to alternatives you already agreed to. Figuring it out alone, 3 to 5 years and one unprofitable retreat. But it is usually a $5,000 to $15,000 lesson. Done for you, $15,000, and you don't keep the model. Book the venue and hope, right? The cost is a retreat. So this is the cheapest of the 4 ways to get it right. And the only one where you keep decision. Now, there are 2 things I'm giving to the people who decide while we are together on this call. And it's not because I'm trying to rush you, but I'm always going to invest more in the people who move. So bonus 1, you get a private hour with me 101. An hour with me alone where I personally audit everything you have built, your retreat, your positioning, your numbers. I charge $1,000 for this. And it's one of the things my clients say changed most for them. So it is yours if you enroll during this call. And then the next bonus that I have is lifetime re-enrollment. So you can retake this program free every time I run it, forever. So if life happens in week 6, and it might, you're not behind, right? You come back and do it again with the next group at no cost. And this is my answer to the fear I hear most. What if I fall behind? You can't, because you have this for life. So both of these are for people who decide on this call. Yeah. Now, Carmel is going to drop the link in the chat for you. And I'm going to cover a couple more things, and then we're going to move to the rest. Yes? Okay. So 12 seats, right? First come, first served. And sometimes, right, people stall at the click because they don't know what's on the other side of it. So let me tell you exactly what happens when you click, because nobody ever does. And I think that's why people hesitate. You're going to land on the page with all the details that has a curriculum and all the details, yeah? And you're going to choose to pay the full price or the 6-month plan. It takes about 2 minutes. And you're going to get an email straight away with your welcome, the session dates, and the Zoom link for every week. And then my team is going to reach out to book your private call with me. And then that's it, 2 minutes. And the retreat that's been in your head for years has a start date. So here's what I want you to do. The link is in the chat now, right? It's $3,000 in full or $600 a month. Choose your seat, right? And both bonuses are yours. One-on-one session with me and live re-enrollment. And I want you to type in the chat if you're ready to say yes to your retreats and take action. Live re-enrollment, it means every time I run this program, launch your first retreat, you can come back and take the course again. That is what it means. Yes. Oh, strange. Let me, there you go. Can you click again on the link, Kathy? Okay. There we go. So the correct link should be at the bottom. And I have pinned it in the chat. Okay. All right. We have people still coming into the room. Isn't that great? All right. Any, I don't know. I run a lot of ads and we have a few companies. There's the retreat company and there's the events company. That's one of those, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So now some of you might need a little bit more time, and that is working for you. I don't, they're live on Zoom, the classes. Yeah. The classes are live on Zoom. And then we have a membership portal where we have the replays. Yes, there's replays. There's definitely replays. Okay, so I want to congratulate Catherine for signing up. Catalina, if you don't make it, there's replays and there is in between sessions and there are work sessions and there's all these other things. Yeah, so, and if for some reason at some point in the program you're like, oh my gosh, I can't really make the rest of the sessions, you can re-enroll for a lifetime in the next ones. Yeah. How long the offer is available? So the bonuses are available during this call for the next 40 minutes. Yeah. And then you have the option to pay in full and you have the option of say 6 payments of $600. I just gave you another one here in the chat, Kathy. Carmel, can you send Kathy a message and give her the link, make sure that it's working? Yeah. And and maybe Kathy, if you can get Carmel your phone number, we can reach out. Yes, so the sessions start on the 28th of July, and we run our sessions at 9, I think it's 9 a.m. Pacific time. Yes. Yes, there is a maximum number of students, 12 students. Yes. Well, it depends. Like, Raina, it depends on like the workshop and what is the goal of that workshop. This is like a whole process and like it's a whole course, right? It's 10 weeks long. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you. Okay. So yeah, it really depends. I mean, if you're going to a retreat planning workshop, is that you need to look at what is going to be included there, but is that going to give you all the things? One of the things that I've noticed, and I'll tell you from experience, like when I launched my first course, is that actually I launched my first program and it was a 3-day intensive. And I had to rerun it with all the people and then give them like a 12-week program because the results were not there because it takes time to implement everything. Yes. 28th of July. So we are like, we do Tuesdays at, I think, 8 a.m. Pacific time. I need to check, but yeah, it's on Tuesdays in the morning for sure. So yeah, I actually had to rerun my program because people were not getting the results because it's just in the time it's just so fast. It's just one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, and then you don't have your numbers. So people that can't review your numbers, you don't have your website, so people can't review your website. Is my vision doing all with sponsorship in the retreat? Tell me more about that. Tell me a little bit more about that, please. Yeah, Catherine, I can't wait to have it. Okay, yeah, all vendors should give their services for free so they can have an affordable profit. Oh, no. No, no, no. I actually am a big fan of paying vendors. paying vendors every single time. We're not taking away from other people to run our business. Oh, I mean, there's people who want to sponsor and they want to bring money and all these kind of things. It's a different model, but we are not taking away from others so we can have for ourselves. We're creating a business model where everyone can get great results. They can change their lives. You can make a profit and all your vendors can make a profit. Yeah, we have, yes. You agree? We want to be same page. Yes, 100%. Okay, so who else is joining the program? You have the bonuses, right? Like the one-on-one session with me. I'm telling you, this is what I did with Brent. He was going to lose $10,000 and he turned around his retreat and he made $27,000, $17,000 in his pocket. And now we've been working together for 8 months. He's going to end up the year with $150,000 in revenue. Yeah. Do you want that for yourself? Is that what you want? Because let me tell you, it is very hard to try to do it on your own. To become an expert, you need 10,000 hours to become an expert on something. Do you want to be an expert? So, congratulations, Kathy. I love it. So I want to just tell you all about this, right? Because at the end of the day, do you want, like, and tell me in the chat, do you want to spend 10,000 hours becoming an expert on marketing and selling retreats? Or would you rather invest on yourself so someone else can teach you what you need to know? And so you can focus your time and your gifts in doing the things that you truly, truly love. Yeah. Things that you truly, truly love. Okay. Now, there's a couple more things I want to cover today, so hang on. Yeah. So here's a number that changes how you see this whole thing. Yeah. 80% of year 2 bookings come from repeat guests and referrals. 80%. Which means if you serve 10 people brilliantly this year, 8 of them either come back or send someone. So you're not going to be starting from zero next time. You never start from zero again. But here's the catch, and the reason why I've been so hard about pricing today. Because this only works if the first one was profitable. If you were stressed, underpaid, and running on fumes, your guests felt it. Yeah. Nobody comes back to that. They come back to presence, and presence is a business outcome. And here's the thing that stands between you and those 10 people. It is not talent. It is that most retreat leaders don't have an enrollment system. They have a hope system. And here's a hope system. And tell me if you recognize yourself in it. You post on Instagram, you send a couple of emails, maybe you do a Facebook Live, and then you wait. And when the seats don't fill, you panic. And then you think that the answer is to actually discount your price. And you add bonuses, and then you scramble, and then you tell yourself the market is saturated. There's not enough clients out there. That is not selling, that is hoping. And hope is not a sales strategy. Yeah. So an enrollment system has 5 parts. And I'm going to give them to you right now. Yeah. So 1 is a message built on the transformation, not the itinerary. Nobody has ever bought a schedule. And 2, a campaign timeline that builds on anticipation. So people are waiting for the doors instead of being ambushed by them. Yeah. And 3, a follow-up sequence because almost nobody buys the first time they see it. And the money is almost entirely in the follow-up. This is where most of you are losing seats you already earned. And 4, a booking process that makes saying the yes so easy. Confused people don't make decisions. Yeah. And 5, a post-purchase experience that starts the transformation before they even get on the plane. That's what most makes people tell more people. Yes, number 2, a campaign timeline that builds anticipation so people are waiting for the doors instead of being ambushed by them. Yeah. So when you have all these 5, right, you stop launching from scratch every single time. You have a system, and all systems, they run whether you're having a good week or a terrible one. Number 5, post-purchase experience that starts the transformation before they even get on the plane. Yeah. So which of these 5 are you missing? Just type the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? A message built on the transformation. 2, a campaign timeline. 3, a follow-up sequence. 4, a booking process. 5, a post-purchase experience. See you in class, Kathy. Catalina, 4.5. Yeah, okay. Anyone else? How many of those do you not have? Yes. 1, a message built on the transformation. 2, a campaign timeline. 3, a follow-up sequence. 4, a booking process. And 5, a post-purchase experience. Yeah. How many of those are you missing? I know everyone's like, okay, well, they offered me the program. That's it. No, we're still like, there's so much here. So, yeah. Because smart retreat leaders don't sell a retreat. They sell a door. So what happens after your retreat, right? Do they go home and slowly forget, or do they step into something else? A container, a community, a next level retreat? That is how a $3,000 retreat becomes a $10,000 client relationship. A retreat is not the destination, it's the door. Yeah. So Elisa was already running retreats and doing fine. Unpredictable, but fine, right? And inside of the program, she made one change. She tightened her offer and her follow-up sequence. That single change brought 9 clients at $4,000 each. $36,000 from one adjustment. She did not post more, and she didn't hustle harder. She got the right thing right once. The right thing right once. Sometimes it's not about doing more. It's about doing the right thing once. Yeah. And I want to go a little bit deeper with Brent, because his story is one of the most of you're standing inside of right now, right? Brent had a men's retreat on the calendar for October, and he'd done the hard part, right? He found his people, he designed something real, and we ran his number. He was projected to lose $10,000. And he didn't know. That's the part I need you to hear. He was 1 week away from finding out the expensive way, and he had no idea, because nobody had ever shown him where to look. 1 week of work, and we rebuilt the structure, and that retreat closed at $17,000 in profit. And he said something I think about a lot. I was going to lose $10,000, and I would have blamed myself. And that's the cost of doing it alone. It's not just about the money. It's that you have concluded you weren't cut out for this, and you would have been wrong. And I want to give you Matthew like properly, right? Because some of you have already tried something and it didn't work. Yes, Samantha, you can definitely have the replays. I would suggest you join the program, and then if for any reason it's really becomes very like a hazard, then we'll make sure that the next cohort is in the afternoons. Yeah. So yes, you will have replays to everything, and there is a community group where you can ask questions in between the sessions. So we got you. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not because it's my program, but the results that all the people who have gone through it, it's great. I really go down the rabbit hole with you, okay? I really do. And I want to make sure that you have the best results possible, because I truly believe that there needs to be more retreats out there, and then they need to be priced properly. I truly, truly believe that. Yeah. So Matthew tried something and it didn't work, right? And sometimes we are carrying that into our life, right? I don't know about you, but I have done things and I failed. Anyone else here with me that has done something and failed? Or am I the only one? Right. So Matthew, he works with veterans and first responders. And he's an extraordinary man. And he does some extraordinary work. Yeah. And his first event was a first free workshop. And 30 people signed up and no one showed up. And 5, and it was free. And he told me, like, he sat in that room afterwards and seriously considered never doing it again. Because what do you conclude from that, right? You conclude nobody wants it. And you conclude that you're not the person. And here's what's actually true, right? He had no positioning, so the right people didn't know it was for them. He had no follow-up, so the ones who did sign up forgot, and it was free. So nobody had any skin on it. These are 3 structural problems, right? 0 were about Matthew and his capacity, right? And his capability. So we rebuilt that, right? We worked on the positioning, the messaging, the price, the enrollment system, the whole thing. And then he went ahead and sold out all 3 of his summer retreats. He took 21 people to Spain, and he had 76 people on a wait list. And what he said to me was not, I made money. What he said is like, I feel like a business owner now. Yeah. 5 people showing up to a free workshop is not evidence about you. It's evidence about your structure. Yeah. And one more, right? Because there is a version of this that looks like success from the outside. So a client I call my camp client, right? He has a big heart and he has a great community, and he does genuinely magical retreats, right? And people come, they learn, they have so much fun, they connect, and people leave changed, right? And when we opened up his numbers, I found out that he was paying his facilitators more than he was paying himself, while he was doing all the work. He was getting all the sales, the website, the promotion, the marketing, and the people that you showed up and teach were taking so much more money. Wow. Have you ever done that to yourself in your business? You pay everyone else before you? Right? Yeah. He was exhausted and underpaid. And he was wondering, right, why something that looks so successful on the outside felt so heavy. So we simplified the format and we clarified who was responsible for what. We created some profit margins, right? We added upsells that made sense for the business. And one launch later, he cleared $24,000 in profit. His passion did not change. His passion did not change. Yeah. Structure creates freedom. So I want you to check in with the people who are still sitting with this, right? So if you've been listening to Brent and Tiffany and Matthew, and you're quietly thinking, that's me, that's my situation, I want you to trust that. That feeling is not a coincidence. It is recognition. So you have the link to join in the chat. And you have the both bonuses, right? If you sign up during the call, private hour with me, and lifetime re-enrollment. And this is for the people who decide on this call. And we're together for a few more minutes. And I'm just so excited to have, Kathy and Catherine. And then we have Ariel as well, who are going to be into this space, right? Into this space. Yeah. Okay. So I've been doing this long enough, and I'm going to open up space for questions, right, in a second. But that I know exactly what's happening in your head. Yeah. So I'm going to just bring them up and say them out loud. Yeah. Can I actually afford $3,000? That is an honest question, right? And it deserves a straight answer. So this program is built to make you money, not cost you. So your first retreat is built to return at least 3 times what you put in. And we do the math in session 5, right? So before you sell a seat, and then you have the 600 a month plan. So cash flow is not the thing that decides your life for you. But I'll also say this. If $3,000 would genuinely put you in a hard place where you cannot pay your rent, please don't. Come back when it's a stretch and not a risk. A stretch. It's always a stretch when we're growing, yeah? Not a risk. I don't want you to be selling your car to join my program. I've seen it too many times and I don't think it's okay. Now, usually people ask, will this work for my kind of retreat? Well, there's no template, so there's nothing to be a bad fit with, right? My clients run men's retreats, trauma retreats, silent retreats, wellness retreats, veteran retreats, corporate retreats. The model holds because it's built around you, not around a niche. Now, and sometimes people tell me I want to talk to my partner. That's completely fair. And if you truly make financial decisions together, if that is you, then get them on a call, and then get them on a call with me and my team. I'm going to drop a link in the chat because I know some of you might still have some questions and be like, well, I don't know. So you can book a call with me and we can have a conversation and see if this is the right step for you. Yeah. But sometimes I need to talk to my partner. Is fear wearing this place of like the responsible one? And you know which one it is. So do it, right? Okay. The next one is usually, what if I fall behind? You can't, because that's why you have lifetime real enrollment. Life will happen in weeks, right? Sometimes life happens to everybody, right? And then you come back and you do it again. But the next group for free, as long as I run this program. Yeah. And then the question is, I've never hosted a retreat, right? This is not this is not the advanced program where you need to have hosted retreats in order to get. This is a program, launch your first retreat. Ruthie, this is what the program is for. We're going to develop that content together. This program is exactly for that. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to have a goal and some passion and something that you want to achieve, right? And a transformation. That's all you need. So I would say go for it because we're going to figure that out together. Beverly, you want to invite someone in the future? Well, if you're a business partner, yes, you can. I would say go for it. Okay. Now, I never hosted a retreat, right? This is Launch Your First Retreat program. You do not need to have everything put together in order to host a first retreat. I have a lot of clients who actually started their businesses hosting retreats And then they added the rest behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tell you just this last story. And I can answer then some of your questions if you still have some, right? Usually I tend to answer a lot of those as we go through. But it's one of this story is for those of you who are like hovering over the link and you're like thinking, oh, should I click? Should I not? What do I do now? Right? And Thane, she was all in, right? And she had invested in all the trainings. All the trainings. I mean, $1 million in investment in trainings, right? I spoke about me, $500,000. She had spent $1 million and more. Yeah. She had been to retreats. She even co-owned a retreat center. And she was not dabbling with things. She was serious about it, right? And when it came to the time to decide, she said, I promised my husband I wouldn't spend any more this year. And I respect that, right? I did. But here's what the decision actually cost her, right? It cost her a year. Not a year of money, right? A year of the thing she said she wanted the most, more than anything else. Because then she launched no retreat, she had no clients, nothing. And 12 months later, we had the same conversation. She did not say no to me. She said no to herself. And she made it sound like the responsible choice. The most expensive thing you can waste is not money. It is time you can't buy back. And I'm not saying that to pressure anybody, yeah? If it's not your season, it's not the season. But I am saying it because I've seen so many people call it being cautious when it is actually fear. And then they lose a year to it. I want you to make decisions not out of fear, but out of courage, knowing that this is what you want. Yeah. Okay. Think about what you wrote in the chat when we first started. How many years have you been waiting to host your retreat? Well, Renzo, this is clear because you're signing up during the call, right? These are fast bonus actions because you're on the call. So because you're signing up now, you will have it. Do not worry. It is because this is just on the call. No one else gets it. So if anyone goes and it's not on the call to that link, they're not getting their lifetime re-enrollment. Yeah. So Renzo, if you're about to click and sign up, do not worry. I will not forget that other people who signed up throughout the session will get these bonuses. Yeah. And I have my team also taking note. Carmel is taking note of those who are signing up with these bonuses. Okay. So think about the number that you typed when we started this class, right? How many years did you put that you've been waiting to host retreats? Not making a decision is not going to keep you safe. It's just cost you slowly, 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 slowly. Yeah. Okay. So here's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do, right? You came in today as someone who has a retreat in their head. And it's something that you've been carrying, some of you for a decade, right? I want you to type this in the chat and I want you to mean it. I am a retreat leader. I am a retreat leader.